Another, the word of Yua that came forth. Wow, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 months ago, roughly. The winter hexagon stars, hexagon winter stars. The shoulder of Orion, Betelgeuse, is getting ready to explode and blow up. And that is the word of Yua. The Betelgeuse is going to explode. And I was pondering, I think it's Matthew 24, signs in the heaven, signs in the earth, the day of Yua, before the day of Yua. We're in this little period, 20 years approximately. It was time that was taken out of Olam's time. This peculiar situation where, as Noah was building the ark, I think I'm going to have to take this topic back up with Daniel. Daniel posits that because time was taken away from Olam, for Olam, or rather Noah, to build the ark, that time has to be given back to Olam. So the time now is being given back to Olam, approximately 20 years, however long it took for Noah to build the ark. That time is being given back to Olam, even though it's now El Elion's time right now. And so during this time, but Michael is active on behalf of the people, the Archangel Michael. There's all sorts of disputes spiritually taking place. I'm thinking of Yeshua. He has this group. He's at war. Also, the sickle. He's going to be thrust into the earth. And the Father, these harvests are harvests unto death. They're not harvests unto life, per se. It's destruction and death coming upon the earth now. And I was pondering, in my own slang, in my thought of why do God hate bug people? Why? Because Daniel has discussed this with me. Is Shaddai coming to destroy the Asians? He finds nothing good in Asia, anywhere, and just goes throughout Asia, destroying everybody in Asia. And so there's an individual living at Hong Kong. Is it Hong Kong? Taiwan? Name's David Zhang, Zhang, and his mantra is everything in China is fake. And he's very fluent in both English and Chinese. And he has a YouTube channel, Insider David Zhang, something like that. But anyway, I was watching a lot of his. He has a lot of YouTube shorts, as well as longer YouTube videos, but describing just the everything bad about China, everything about China that's bad. And so why do God hate bug people? Why does Shaddai hate the Asians? Well, go watch David Zhang's channel. In his mantra, everything in China is fake. And you'll know why the Shaddai reality goes to Asia and just destroys everything there. And Daniel brought up the topic of Jeshurun, because there's another L purging. This one's the Ahim L, purging, destroying populations of Earth. So-called Jesus loves everybody. No. He loves those that are his, and he's out wiping out and destroying everything that offends. And there's lots of offensive stuff. Anyway, so Daniel told me about this place where he discerns in the scriptures where the two meet up with each other. They're busy on the purge, and they meet up in the area of Levant. Because Yeshua is Yeshua Elohim is active purging southern Europe and northern Africa and that area. And meanwhile, the Father is purging Asia, bringing destruction and death upon them. And they actually meet up. And this, Daniel showed me this in the context of the scriptures, but it's without the gift of knowing, you can't, your chances of identifying it are nearly impossible. So that's one example of the destruction and death from all four of the L's and their respective power beings, which was a dream I had more than a year ago now, coming upon the earth now, of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, and Olam, with their respective power beings. The Father, the Shaddai reality, with his power being the eagle seraph, a female being, the Son with his, and I got to thinking about this, and I looked up Diana, the lion seraph, and of course it is accurate with the pictures. My reasoning and the way an image that I associate with was I called Cheeto's cat. I said him. No, I was wrong. Her. Cheeto's cat is a her. It's obvious. And anyway, so this her, Cheeto's cat, as I like to call her, the lion seraph, and Ahim are out busy purging. Then you've got the El Elyon reality, Yua El Elyon, and the man seraph. They're out busy purging. And then you've got Olam, the Thanatos, Hades, Pluto, death reality of Olam, and the calf seraph, Vulcan Hephaestus, a bull, male reality, out bringing destruction and death upon the earth. And this has been going on for more than a year now. And I just have neglected to go back through my dream log and post dates, because really it might have been happening for some time before I saw it. Just because I didn't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. So that's been going on for more than a year now. And about 5 days ago, I saw this news story where Betelgeuse has dramatically changed, I think brightened in its intensity. And of course, that is the word of Yua, that Betelgeuse is going to explode. To what, again, now I've, since that news story, of course, I continually have dreams and visions, but if you're a knower, would you contact me? Because I do not have good, consistent access to knowing, and I'm having dreams and visions pile up on me that do not have interpretation yet. There's delays, and of course it's very problematic to bring forth the word of Yua when it's the dark similitude, and I am the seer. I'm the half of it that receives the communication, but then it's encrypted by the dark similitude, and so it has to be deciphered with the spiritual gift of knowing, to provide the interpretation, the dispelling of doubts, the showing of dark sentences, the showing of dark sentences, the interpretation of dreams, and dissolving of doubts. That is the gift of the knower, the Daniel type gift of the knower, whereas I am the seer, where I see it, but I have that half of it. I receive the information, but I have to connect with a knower to interpret that gift. So I saw something. It might have been Betelgeuse about 2 days after that news story, but I couldn't tell you. I know what I saw. I wrote it down, but it won't be until I get a hold of a knower and interpret that. But long story short, the word of Yua, which we do know, as of 7 months ago, is that Betelgeuse is going to explode soon. It's not this 100,000 years where scientists keep going, oh, Betelgeuse. I mean, they're, and being most all science co-opted by the warmonger death merchants, everything modern science is going to be used for a weapons system somehow, some way. So any kind of substantial science is going to be a part, typically, of the military-industrial complex, those existing in death. They have kept true mathematics, true spirituality, what there was of it for them for the last 6,000 years, and true physics to themselves, and they have taught the populations of Earth lies, approximations, and falsehoods. Well, now that's kind of, as I was meditating on it, that's kind of flim-flammed and boomeranged on them, because now they have these populations that they've dumbed down the populations of Earth everywhere, and so there isn't anyone anywhere to help them. They're alone in their situation, and now having been cut off, they're made equal with all the dum-dums, that's Pharaoh's words, the dum-dums in energy, and they're all just flailing around in energy now without access to ethereal power, without access that I know of, certainly without access to ethereal power, and most likely without access to the Archa reality of any kind of spiritual communications. So the reason why you don't hear really the word of Yua anywhere from the gods, persons getting upset, gods, plural. Well, even Pharaoh says to the masses, you're dumb, you're stupid, dum-dums, can't read, can't write. And if you are spiritual and you read the scriptures, you can see the plurality of the gods all over the scriptures, despite the warmonger death merchants, the papists, and others doing their utmost, if you will, to destroy the integrity of the scriptures, to edit, change, modify, remove all the proper nouns, which Pharaoh liked to crow about all the time, and say, there's no proper nouns there. And so it takes the gift of knowing and or the spiritual gift of seeing, but certainly knowing, to apply to the scriptures to restore the proper nouns. So I've been talking with Daniel, saying we need to work on and publish a copy of the scriptures with all of the proper nouns and all of the different realities, certainly the top 15 realities, the I am, the breath, and the word, Yua al Shaddai, Yua Elohim, Yua El Elyon, Yua Al Olam, the Archangel Yua, the Archangel Gabriel, the Archangel Michael, the Archangel Abaddon, the man seraph, known as Hestia Vestia in the Greeks and the Romans. I don't know if the man seraph ever had a Hebrew name, just a title, the man seraph. The eagle seraph, Athena Minerva, the lion seraph, Diana Artemis, and the calf seraph, Vulcan Hephaestus. These should all be named in the scriptures by their proper noun names. And so you have 15 of these different God realities that should be in the scriptures, not including ancient history, which will have the aeons, which are two of the three of the eternals in eternity. If I'm correct, the breath and the word are the aeons, which proceed from the one, the I am. Then the four, the oldest gods, the primordials. I was doing some more work on the primordials, and then the Ogdoad, the fourfold and the eightfold. The Ogdoad, the Egyptians knew as the Ogdoad, the eight, call them the old gods, older gods, because you have to view it through time. The primordials, there were only four realities. But then Archa was introduced. Was it Archa? I think Archa was introduced. So now there are a total of 8 realities. This was done 4 billion years ago. At the beginning of time, 13.8 billion years ago, there were only 4 realities: chaos, earth, heaven, and heaven-earth combined. So it gave rise to 3 different types of realities, including the not reality of chaos. The lack of substance. Then the third water, these are the 4 waters of life which come from the well of life in eternity. The third water of life was added, which I believe was Archa. So now we have a total of 8 different realities, and now beings come forth. And this was the difference. Well, even some of the oldest gods, known as Kronos, and I've got some of the names written down. I'm busy working on a chart of all the names that the other civilizations knew the primordials by. The Egyptians knew them, the Romans knew them, the Greeks knew them. I'm pretty sure the Phoenicians, was it the Phoenicians? No, the Sumerians. The Sumerians knew them. Certainly the Egyptians. And the Egyptians, if I'm correct, because I found this one individual, H-E-H, is one of the Eternals. I think and I'm just guessing, because I have to go show, I say, hey, Daniel, see this dude here? Who is this amongst the 15? I'm pretty sure is the I am. So the Egyptians have always known. And the Egyptians knew about the primordials. The Egyptians, that's where we get this word, the Ogdoad, is the Egyptians, the Egyptian eightfold Ogdoad. But then with the KT battle and the introduction of ether and the 8D ethereal power reality, 8 more beings came into existence, including the 4 seraphs, 5 of them that I know off of the top of my head, all the beings with, no, wait a minute, ether, power. Oh, heaven? I'm thinking, because I've memorized the 16-fold, because this came into existence at the time of the KT battle, approximately 66 million years ago. The addition of ether, now we have 16 possibilities, the 16-fold, and the Hexakia Decananity. So there, with that, then, because it went from 1 to 2 to 4 to 8, and then the 16 realities. And it was with the so-called thunderbolt of Zeus, the ethereal power reality, that the Shaddai reality prevailed over the Titans and overthrew the Titans. And so I've been studying these beings. There was this one really, really incredibly bad being. I was reading about this battle. This being was a combination. It was like one of the ultimate Olam beings that had this. It was a combination mammal reptile together, because it was upright and it walked, but it had legs of serpents. And anyway, it's got a name, and it tried this energy Olam being tried to overthrow the Shaddai reality, the Zeus reality, and Zeus used his thunderbolt, the ethereal power reality, to overthrow this energy being, and that energy being was buried, literally, after being substantially disabled and parts of its being chopped off. It had lots of heads. It had like 50 or 100 heads. And it's also with the Hectonshires. There were Hectonshires. This was at the same time. Well, I can't say the same time, but this was The Hectonshires were these 100-handed beings. They had 100 hands. Well, this being had 100 heads. Anyway, it had a name, and I was studying this being, and it was well known. Many different stories in different civilizations about this being and how the Shaddai, the Zeus reality, fought against this being, defeated it, and threw it across Tartarus. They move the defeated beings are they're pushed across the event horizon, and they're no longer able to interact directly with this reality anymore. They're imprisoned it's Tartarus. It's on the other side of the event horizon in the eternal reality. So these beings, the Hectonshires, the Cyclops, and this being had a name. Just read about it last night, so forgive me, I don't remember its name. But you can just go look up this being that Zeus had a fight with and defeated and buried it under a mountain. And the name of that being, I think, starts with a T. But it's definitely an Olam energy type being. And of course, the Shaddai reality, having access to ethereal power, is easily able to defeat any energy being reality, because ethereal power is in another dimension. It's a higher dimension than this reality. It's at the far edges of the universe. So anyway, then now the Hexakian Decainity, the 16-fold reality, is in existence. And with a total of 4 waters that come out of the well of life. And in Genesis, it's either 1:2 or 1:3, we see the archangel Ua, this breath reality, brooding upon the waters. This is not H2O. These are the waters of life that are types of substance that come out of eternity, either energy earth substance, heaven substance, infinite throne substance, eternal substance. And by mixing these substances, we get different types of beings. And it is the eternal, the Ua reality, the breath of life, the one that says, you cannot look upon my face lest you cannot look upon my face lest you die. This is an eternal being, one of the 3 fates that came up with the idea to mix the waters of life to create different beings, which is described there in the scriptures. The spirit brooded upon the waters. This is the Ua, this breath of life reality, brooding, pondering, thinking over the waters of life, coming out of the well of life into temporality, and then mixing those waters to come up with different types of beings. So at first there were 4, the primordials, and then 4 billion years ago, another water was added. So now there's 8 possible realities. This was then the Titans overthrew, in the stories, the Titans overthrew the primordials. It's the story of how Kronos overthrew Uranus. But it's really one reality becoming 2 realities. It's this sickle that cut Uranus's testicles off and fell into the water and became Aphrodite. Well, now if you go look up Kronos and the substances that Kronos was made out of, and then Aphrodite, which is the El Elyon reality, I'm thinking of it, because I'm trying to memorize all this. The Aphrodite reality is the Ua El Elyon reality. A created God. See, the 4, the 12, all these beings that are created, they're created gods. They're made out of the waters of life that flow out of eternity into temporality. Even though they themselves create, they are created gods. And Daniel had told me, it says how the gods fear the eternals, the fates, because these are the ultimate creator gods in eternity. Whereas these So I say there's the highest gods, the high gods, the intermediate gods, and the low gods. And Olam has got this, Abad and Olam are in this peculiar situation where they've been demoted, because I saw the Council of the Mighty about 3 months ago. I saw all 8, but as one. See, that's the uniqueness. People say, well, there's one God. Well, yes, but there's also 8. And I saw them both. I saw them both at the same time. 1, yet 8 at the same time. So about 3 months ago, I can tell you the exact date, I saw the Council of the Mighty, all 8 of the created Archa beings of Psalm 82 were revealed to me and shown to me for the first time that I can remember or know, 3 months ago. I have seen Ezekiel's wheel within a wheel, which would be all 12 of the realities. I saw that 2 or 3 years ago, so I've seen all 12, which is the Archa power, the Archa power beings, the Archa beings, and the power beings, all 12 of them together. And that's known in the scriptures as Ezekiel's wheel within the wheel. The Agigi, there's the Archons, the Agigi. This is the Agigi are the power beings. The Archons are I believe the Archa power beings. Anyway, we've got this. I've been now for 6 years publishing a very simplified chart of the Hexakia Decayanity, which has just the Hebrew, Greek, and Roman names and the simple mathematical formulae for the different 4 substances. But in the interim, for the last 6 years, Daniel and I have been working on a much more complex chart, which I should publish, and Yah willing will publish in this fall season. It's the time of El Elyon now, the seasons. In fact, before I forget, I'm going to throw this little tidbit in here. I don't think the Earth had seasons until the shuttlecraft left. The shuttlecraft leaving with its great force and violence, stole the thunder. Somebody stole the fire. It's a story in mythology when Shaddai left in the shuttlecraft and tore away a large amount of the Earth's atmosphere, dramatically shortening mankind's life expectancy, set the Earth on fire everywhere. The black mat in archaeology, 12,000, 13,000 years ago, you can pretty much go anywhere on the Earth, dig down to 12, 13,000 years ago, and you're going to find a small band, a very narrow, thin band of charcoal where the Earth was on fire everywhere. This was the Younger Dryas comet meteor impact, but was not just comets and meteor, this thing coming down out of the heavens. It was what left that did a lot of it too, the shuttlecraft. The mystery of the scriptures where it says there's this householder took a journey into a far country. Well, that was the shuttlecraft leaving the heavenly city, which is coming back. Oh, and by the way, I had a dream or a vision of that. I saw the shuttlecraft come back about 5 months ago, roughly. I saw the shuttlecraft come and sit down. I mean, I was kind of far away, so I actually saw, because it happens in an instant. And because these are eternal beings, so that's why they describe us as plants. We're alive, but plants move really slow. Well, so do the mammals. All the other forms of life move slow too. To an Archa being, the Archa beings, the eternal forms of life in eternity, we look like plants. That's why repeatedly throughout the scriptures, mankind are described, righteous ones anyway, or even the evil ones. Why have you become a degenerate vine unto me, a plant? This is where I believe the Shaddai reality is complaining. Why are you degenerate, you plant? And it talks about the trees and let fire come forth from the bramble and consume the cedars of Lebanon. And then it talks about the righteous as being a tree planted next to waters of life, come from the well of life and the tree of life. So we are viewed by them as these very slow moving forms of life like plants, but we see them like lightning. So when you see scriptures, it was Ezekiel's wheel with a wheel, the beings that they moved like lightning. Well, it's because they travel through time. They're not restricted like energy beings to time. No, they're in eternity. They can travel through time. Time is just like like us getting up and moving from one spot to another. They can get up and move through time the same way. So that's why you see these references to movements like lightning. This is the energy time limited view of beings within time, seeing beings in eternity moving extremely rapidly because they can move through time. So that's pretty much this recording that I can think of, that the Betelgeuse is getting ready to blow up and to be one of the signs of Matthew 24, but the end is not yet come. Delta Capricorni coming full large and charge on the scene. Won't be for probably about another 15 years. There is the possibility I was discussing, I should check this up with Daniel, except those days be shortened, so there is the possibility of a shortening of time. Maybe that the events of the massive destructions of the book of Revelation will happen sooner. Daniel posits somewhere between 2037, 2038, 2039. 2039 to 2040, 2041. 2039 to 2041. Daniel speculates, posits that that's the time when Delta Capricorni will explode and bring the overwhelming vast majority of the destruction. And that was one of the citations in the book of Revelation in 18, talks about, of the daughter of Babylon, the United States. Babylon has fallen, being burned utterly. It's not going to be via a man-made energy nuclear weapon. No, this is going to be the Shaddai Delta Capricorni gamma ray burst from a nearby hypernova. That is the fire that burns half of the earth and all the other forms, which I've already discussed in great detail. The plasma, all the different, and I probably will go over it with Daniel again, and we'll cover it again in even more detail. All the different forms of radiation and fire, plasma, radioactivity and isotopes, and the toxic substances that are bound together, oxides of nitrogen and hydrazine, and all of the poisonous, toxic, and radioactive, and the isotopes, and just all that all the radiation, and then the thermal black body radiation radiated from the sun getting 7 times hotter. All of that type of fire coming, where the Olam reality keeps hedging its bet, saying, oh, the water covenant, the rainbow covenant, not gonna happen. Yeah, so the Shaddai goes, yeah, I made this deal. Yeah, I made the deal. Yep, I agree. Not gonna destroy the earth by water anymore. Didn't make any deal concerning fire. Didn't make any deals concerning destroying the earth with fire. There's no covenant not to destroy the earth by fire. So the overwhelming vast majority of beings on the earth being unclean, everything that offends, so many, and that's just I got this list of like 21 things that I wrote out. One of them was that all forms of life are defective. That was one thing that we were shown as a part of the it was the steady creation account, the Syzygies, the last one, the 15th. The last Syzygy was this leaky, defective creature, the Sophia reality, Olam, and everything that Sophia, Olam, creates is defective. And that's not taught. And so there's always this assumption that there's nothing wrong inherently with the forms of life. Yes, all forms of life, except the original intent of the Shaddai reality with white man, which now have all become, vast majority of them become fallen and defective as well. all forms of life here in this reality are defective by default. And so there's this false belief that, well, everything is okay. No, the truth is everything is defective and subject to cleansing fire and purge. Everything is defective. That's what's not being taught. All life, all forms of life in this 4D energetic reality created by Olam are defective. Now, as part of the remediation process brought about by the Shaddai reality is what Daniel describes as domestication. This remediation and repair by the spirit reality, the free Holy Spirit, the free spiritual upgrade that came in Acts chapter 10 and Acts chapter 15, the free spiritual upgrade. The free repair talked about, says, I will take away your stony heart and give you a heart of flesh. That's the repair to man's heart. The heart is defective too. The heart needs to be repaired. The spiritual nature, the way the heart was created, is defective and needs to be repaired. And so this topic of the heart and its defectiveness all throughout the scriptures and its need of repair is probably the primary matter of what distinguishes what's defective from what's not defective, is those that have accepted the free offer of free repairs from the Shaddai Ahim Elyon reality. And before I forget, something else I wanted to throw in. Daniel pointed out that the necessity of the plurality of the gods is that the Father is the provider. The Shaddai reality is the provider, prosperity. Ahim is the one that restores individuals to the Father. And so as I was talking with one of my other friends and associates, I say, churchianity doesn't talk about the Father at all. And that's because they don't have a relationship with the Father. I was meditating on that scripture where Yeshua said, I only do those things I see my Father doing. Why isn't it that churchianity is not talking about the Father at all? I'm here to tell you about the Father because I see the Father. I see him along with his Son out here bringing destruction and death on the earth, but that's the time frame we're at now. Of course, churchianity doesn't want to tell you that. No, they're just going to keep telling you about trust in the blood of the Lamb and give us cash and Jeebus love everybody. They're not going to tell you the truth that destruction and death are here now, and that all life is defective by default. So churchy, and that was why the need of the archangel to fly through heaven to preach the everlasting gospel, because churchianity isn't doing it. Churchianity, and that was the final closing part of the everlasting gospel, that churchianity, group 9, is a failure today. Churchianity is now a failure. Has failed spiritually. They are entangled with earthly government. They have become part